Hey everybody, welcome back to the weekly video. I'm changing up the format a little bit because this is a very special episode. I'm doing a quick tutorial on my pinup for Olympia number 4. That comes out today, February 26th on New Comic Book Day. It's from Image Comics by a local guy, Curt Pires. He did the book with the story with his dad, and it's a very personal story about a kid that's a comic book guy just like me, just like a lot of us that are watching this, and discovers that he can actually bring his favorite superhero to the real world and what kind of consequences that entails. So you're going to be watching me as I draw this. I did this back way in October, so because of the time restraints, I wanted to speed it up so you can get as much as you can. I'll try and get as much little tutorial and little tips and tricks that I've learned back then on how to make this piece work the way it did, and you get to see the real thing at the very end. So please give it a watch and let me know what you think. So let's hit that intro. Alright, so as with everything, it starts off with a quick sketch that I just did on a sketch pad. I try to time it out just a little bit better with this video, just do all the pencil sketches before I recorded. So right now you can see me just going through and going right into the inks. Right below it is all the pencil marks and everything that I did digitally. And now just changing the giant lion that he has on his body, playing around with the teeth and the angle and stuff like that. That was a tough one to figure out, just because it is an animal and it is at a certain angle, and trying to make it look like it was a piece of armor but still recognizable as a lion. Going right back into the face. Excuse me. And yeah, just going through that. It's going back on it. He looks a lot like Hulk Hogan. I wasn't really trying to emulate him. I think that's just what it came out after I read the story and just kind of had this larger than life kind of character, and it just came up with him in that kind of a likeness. So it was kind of it was an accident. I don't know if how much of a happy accident it is. It might just depend on who you are. And one of the scenes that really cemented this story for me was him looking at the pill bottle in issue 1. So I thought that was really a little funny little moment that he's inspecting on how what these tiny little pills actually are and what they mean to him. So yeah, I just took off the blue line. Still working on a normal layer and just now going in with all the little details, making the selections here and there just to get those lines precise. That's one of the things that I've learned the most in recent times, is taking that selection button, getting the magic wand in there, and getting right into those tiny little spaces in order to not have to go back in and erase a whole bunch of stuff. So that was one of the cool things that I learned recently with this program. I've had this thing for almost 10 years, and there's still stuff that I'm learning today in order to make my stuff stand out and be better. And especially with this piece, I think I've accomplished that. So there we go. Now we're starting on the next character, and he is with the whole big line work. So going back into the background, so I was able to get a hold of Curt. He actually put the writer, the creator of Olympia. He put out this tweet, and since he's local, I was able to catch it pretty quickly, and saying that he was looking for artists to submit some pinups for the series. And I thought, this might be a cool chance for you to try something new, get on to a new publisher that I haven't been able to work with before, which is Image. So I thought, I might as well give it a shot. He was able to send me a digital copy of issue 1. I was able to take a crack at it and give it a read, and I quite enjoyed it a lot. It's a really cool story, and the history of that story about him and his dad were able to come together and create this thing. It's a very great story. If you ever hear from him on it, it's a good way to go. So since I did this back in October, like I said, I'm going to try my best to remember what I did. So we're going back to the tutorial part of this. Now I'm starting to put in the flat coloring onto this one just to show, just to start that process. As you just saw there, I didn't really like his ear, so I took that one out and I repositioned and redrew it. I was trying to do this method where it's a paint fill, and I've learned this method. I think I may have just put the panels or the layers on incorrectly, so it wasn't working as well as I had hoped, and I wanted to make sure that my colors were going underneath the line work. And since like I said, I did this in October, I've learned some better methods, so there are ways to do it. I just didn't know how to do it at this stage. So yeah, if you see me doing this one, there's a way easier way to do it. Yeah, see, you just saw it right there. I just had the fill paintbrush, just a little bit of a green, so I was able to catch it in those certain spots. But I think with the shirt and the skin, it just didn't work as well as I'd hoped. So I just did a masking layer here, just so that all of Olympia's colors are going to be the same, and I'm trying that fill part again with his beard. Like his skin, yeah, his hand just worked really, really well. Same with his neck and his ear, but it didn't work so well with the hair. So now all I'm doing is doing a selection and color. So you just erased everything, and now I'm going to try it all again. See, I don't know why. I don't know why it was doing it that way. So I think I just said screw it and just scrapped it all and went through. Yeah. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't think that method works really well with me. So I'll just have to. Like I said, I've come back again with a better method, so that should work a little bit better. So right now I'm just going through and just making sure all the colors match up with the line work. It's painstaking now. I wish I can go back and tell earlier me that there's a better way, you doofus. There's just, what are you doing? You're making more work for yourself than you have to, and it's just funny. I wish I could just give myself a smack on the head and tell them to get your crap together, dude. So yeah, so we're still going. Back to the story about how this whole thing came to be. Like Curt and his dad came together and came up with a story about a kid who reads comic books and discovering that his heroes can come to life and how they would react in the real world, coming straight from a comic book fantasy, and that's how it's basically come through. That's how the story goes. Yeah, so it jumped from different issues that this piece was going to be featured in. It was jumped from 2 to 3 to 4, but that's what happens. So it's nothing to be bitter, nothing to be mad about, but it happens. But it's out now, people can see it, so I'm quite thrilled with that. So with this layer, now working with putting it all into grayscale, so making sure all the tones and crap, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember the word I was looking for, but so yeah, the values, that's what I'm looking for. Making sure all the values are proper, so seeing the lightest parts are where the light is hitting him compared to with the shadows, light and dark. If I would have taken a little bit more time, I would have made, maybe his skin tone a little bit brighter compared to the lion armor on his chest. And the same thing with here, I would make his skin a little bit lighter and all that kind of stuff. So, learning curves, guys, learning curves. Alright, so now we're going on to, I always call him Elon, because I don't think Ellen works very well in the way it's spelled. You can think it could be Ellen, but I think it's Elon. He's the other protagonist of the story. He is the comic book kid who discovers that he can, his comic book hero is now in the real world. So now I'm playing around with the values with him, making sure the shade and the light sources coming off of him are in the proper places and making sure they're spotted properly. Put a lot of shade around his eyes and where his bangs are covering everything, so it makes it look so you have that there's a light source coming from the top, coming down. There's also the rib light coming in from behind both of them, just so it can be a little bit more three-dimensional. And looks like, yeah, now I'm working on the background. I was able to load up a whole bunch of new brushes for some stuff, so I wanted to play around with those. This was the perfect opportunity to make that happen. I can't remember where I got them all from, but they're from various sources. And playing now, just making sure the background looks cool and it's not gonna overshadow what I plan for the characters. So right now I'm doing a gradient map on the rendering of the characters, just so that, you know, it kind of matches the light source and the values that I wanted for this scene, which is very orange and purple. I think it's pretty much my go-to when it comes to coloring kind of stuff. I love that combination. So now I'm taking the original work, the coloring, or taking the gradient, and I'm turning it into different layer, from normal to overlays or to different kind of settings, just so that I can get these kind of crazy color effects. So you can see it's a little bit like there's really hot around Elon's cheeks. Now I'm playing around with just solely Olympia's armor to make it a little bit more golden and stand out a little bit better. And now I'm playing with another layer to put it into a screen so that it feels more purple and more at night, even though they're lighted like it's daytime, but it's still a different kind of color setting, so they stand out, but it still matches the rest of the piece. So just playing around with different effects and different lighting here, playing around with the background, and this is just playing on just all on the same layer. All the characters layers are all separate. You see, I was playing around with his actual costume. I have a little bit of lighting on his hair. That's another normal layer on top of everything, especially on the line work. And you can see a little bit of line work is a little bit colored here too. I think it's just with one of the effects. Can't remember which effect I did. Sorry if it's this is not so much of the tutorial end. It's just playing around. And now I'm just making the gold armor just a little bit pop out with an add glow layer effect. And I think that should about wrap it up.
Alright, so I'm in my local comic shop. Just going to be picking up an issue here. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. Flip to the back. Boom. So I got my copy here at Red Skull Comics, but go to your local comic book shop and get number 4 right in the back, on the very last page, so you can get my pinup right on issue 4. So remember, go to your local comic shop. New Comic Book Day is every Wednesday. Go check it out.